If you can't stand Karens, hit that like button and subscribe. Then drop a comment with your city or country. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Now, buckle up for a story so wild it could only happen to me. Imagine chilling in your own pool, sun shining, only for a Karen and her wannabe cop husband to turn your paradise into a reality TV meltdown. It was a sticky Tuesday in Harmony Glade, a sleepy town where I, Nathan Brooks, a tech entrepreneur and new resident, decided to unwind in my pool. Picture me on a flamingo floatai, iced tea in hand, pure bliss until, excuse me, sir. My eyes snapped open. At my yard's edge stood a woman, textbook Karen, practically frothing, next to a guy built like a poorly assembled gym rack, buzzcut and tank top screaming, "I lift wrong." "Yes," I asked, keeping my cool. "Can I help you?" "Yes, you can," Karen screeched, voice echoing off the water. "We've had reports of suspicious activity here." I raised an eyebrow, sitting up on the floatai. "Suspicious? Like a flamingo convention?" "Don't get smart," she snapped, turning purple. "We've been watching you, and you don't belong." "Buzzcut, let's call him," Gary added, puffing his chest. "This is a family neighborhood." I was baffled. "I bought this house, fair and square. I've got the deed." Karen waved dismissively. "Deed or no deed, you're tanking property values. We want you gone. This isn't your kind of place." I took a deep breath, channeling calm. "Ma'am, with respect, you're mistaken. This is my property." "We're not mistaken," she smirked. "My husband Gary's training to be a cop. He knows how to handle this." "Tell him, Gary." Gary flexed his biceps, admittedly impressive. 5 minutes to pack and leave, or I'm calling the sheriff." I chuckled. "You're calling the sheriff on me for swimming in my pool?" Shaking my head, I climbed out, dripping wet, and grabbed a towel. Their faces were gold, Karen vibrating with rage, Gary debating whether to dial. "Look, I don't want trouble," I said, biting back a grin. "But you're trespassing, harassing me with baseless claims. Leave, or this escalates." "We're not going anywhere." Karen planted her feet on my lawn. "This is for the community." I sighed. "Fine, let's play." Ignoring their protests, I called over my shoulder, "Be right back." Inside, I swapped my swim trunks for a tailored suit, grabbed my briefcase, a relic from my startup days, and headed out. They hadn't budged. Karen ranted about property values. Gary kept flexing. I opened my briefcase, pulled out my badge, shiny and new, and held it up. "Let's try this again. I'm Chief Brooks, and you're under arrest for trespassing and harassment." Karen's face drained of color. Gary's jaw hit the grass. They stared at the badge like it was a live grenade. "Chief," Karen stammered. "But Gary's training to be an officer." "How sweet," I said dryly. "But you're hindering the police chief's duties." "Know what that means?" "He's still in training," she protested, pointing at Gary. "Doesn't even have a badge." "True," I said, clipping mine to my belt. "But I do, and you're making a big mistake." I gestured to my sleek black Tesla. "Get in. We're going downtown." They hesitated, but my stare said I wasn't bluffing. Gary deflated. Karen sputtered, but lost steam. As I drove them to the Harmony Glade Police Stationa dusty, outdated hub, I couldn't help but laugh. Here I was, the new police chief, arresting 2 clowns who tried to bully me out of my own home. At the station, all eyes turned as I marched in with a subdued Karen and Gary. Sergeant Carter, a grizzled vet with a mustache like a walrus, raised an eyebrow. "Chief Brooks, what's this?" "Sergeant," I said, barely hiding a smirk, "bringing these 2 in for trespassing and harassment." Carter glanced at Karen, trying to blend into the wall, and Gary, staring at his shoes. "On who?" "Me," I said. "At my house." The station erupted in laughter. Even the dispatcher cracked a smile. I raised a hand. All right. Sergeant, take their statements. I'll explain later." In my small office overlooking the town square, I sat, processing the absurdity. An hour later, Carter knocked, handing me their files. Karen's statement was a rant about neighborhood character. Gary's, surprisingly coherent, claimed he was protecting the community. I sighed. "What do you think, Sergeant?" Carter stroked his mustache. "They broke the law, but they didn't know you were chief. Does that excuse it?" I leaned back. "We should fine them heavily, make an example. Show Harmony Glade this nonsense won't fly." Carter grinned. "Maybe some community service, too." "I like your style," I said. So, Karen and Gary were hit with steep fines and 100 hours of community service, picking trash along Harmony Glade Highway in bright orange vests labeled, "I trespassed and harassed, a judge's genius touch," a friend of mine. The news spread like wildfire. People laughed at the diner, the store, even town council meetings. I, the new black police chief who arrested Karen and Gary, became a local legend. Folks shook my hand, thanked me for standing up to bullies, and offered support. The mayor summoned me. "Nathan, you've made a bigger impact in weeks than anyone in years." I smiled. "Just doing my job, Mayor." The best part? Karen and Gary's faces when I'd see them around town scowling, muttering, avoiding eye contact. They'd learned their lesson. One day, I saw them in their orange vests in the town square. I strolled over. "How's it going?" I asked straight-faced. Karen glared. Gary kept picking trash. "Respect your neighbors. Obey the law," I said. "And maybe you won't end up in those vests." I winked and walked off, leaving them fuming. A week later, the police academy called Gary dropped out, unable to handle the Karen and Gary incident fallout. I felt a twinge of pity, but it faded recalling his flexing and threats. Life in Harmony Glade settled. I focused on my chief role, launching programs, improving officer training, and making the town safer and welcoming. I still swam in my pool, but kept my badge handy, just in case. The Karen and Gary saga taught me. Life's full of craziness, but with humor, authority, and patience, you can handle anything. If a Karen and her wannabe cop sidekick ever hassle you, remember this story and keep your badge close.